A case of cybercrime was reported involving the daughter of a former MLA, Beluru Gopalakrishna. Megha Vandana filed a complaint against Pratima, a resident of Chennai, of misusing her pictures on social media.
Former MLA Beluru Gopalakrishna's daughter, Megha Vandana, is in the eye of a storm. The 21-year-old filed a complaint against her schoolmate Pratima for using her images to cheat men. In her complaint registered with RT Nagar police, Megha had alleged that Pratima was using her photos to flirt with guys. Pratima also sent messages through WhatsApp to several of her contacts. Well, we caught up with Megha Vandana and her advocate.
Well, it couldn't have gotten more curious than this. A woman sends out pictures of her friend claiming that those pictures are hers. And then she goes on to build friendships with unknown men and puts her friend whose pictures they are to a great deal of risk. The friend gets to know of this after a lag of time and she goes before the police seeking for help. Now we have both these persons. Now we have the victim as well as an advocate. First we have Miss Megha Vandana, the one who was subjected to this kind of a torture for a period of time. We also have advocate Smita. Now let's find out from Megha Vandana what really happened. Now Megha, what really is the story? What happened?
She was a schoolmate of mine. We studied together, and we've been good friends. I mean, she's a funny girl. She's very sweet. And then she basically uses my pictures to talk to a lot of boys in Chennai, Bangalore, and so many other places, like through other, what is that app? There's some website like Facebook, other social networking sites. She's been doing all that. She's been using my personal details, and she contacts all my friends who she knows, like the mutual friends from school and other people, and collects details about me, like what is she doing now, who is she close to.
Is it WhatsApp?
Yeah, she's doing it on WhatsApp, and she says that the Facebook account I'm using is hers.
Okay.
So she hasn't created another Facebook account. She's saying if somebody tags me in a picture.
So she's morphing your pictures on her own and saying you are her. Ms. Smita, you are an advocate. Now something as harmless as this, it looks very seemingly harmless. Now is it an offence under the law?
I'm working with limited facts, as I already told you. Who decides what's harmful, right? So the victim here says that I think this person, by doing all these acts, has crossed the line and is causing, menace to me in my day-to-day life. So when it comes to that,
how is she causing you a problem?
So basically, from whatever information that I have gathered so far in this case,
she has morphed her pictures on her own.
Yes. So this is a classic case of cyber stalking.
Okay.
When you say cyber stalking, it is basically following a person's activity online.
For this, someone can go behind bars?
That's right.
If proved?
If proved, yes.
You willing to pursue it?
Yeah.
Because a complaint is the first step. There's also a very long, sometimes, criminal justice system. You willing to pursue it?
Yeah, I think I'll go ahead with it. I have to fix it. It could happen to a lot of girls, and I think they all should do the same and not just sit quiet and be scared.
Okay, does it scare you? Does it bother you that someone who's been, hurt or pained, someone who's been rejected, could carry out an attack against you? Does it ever come to your mind?
It's a thought. Initially, when I found out, I had all sort of thoughts, like I said.
Like?
I mean, I could be in danger. My life's always in danger. There's so many guys whom I think it was me who's hurt them, or me who made them fall in love and then told, hey, I don't like you anymore, like somebody else now. It'll hurt anybody. She should have thought. She knew me. I was so good to her. I mean, it's wrong to do it to anybody, whether you know the person or you don't know her.
Absolutely.
She's a girl and she cannot do this to another girl, is what I'm saying.
A Bengalurian was stalked by her friend, someone who knew her from school, and it has gotten as bad as this. She has filed a formal police complaint. Now this is a copy of the police complaint that she's filed before the RT Nagar police. What will the police do? Will the police bring this perpetrator to book is a big question.
Well, according to police sources, Pratima has been arrested in Chennai and will be brought to Bengaluru for interrogation. A News 9 report.
It is the month of Ramzan and Mosque Road is decked in festive fever. Cuisines from across the country are finding a place on the palates of hundreds of Bangaloreans. We take a look at some of those mouth-watering dishes.
If you want to immerse in an experience that literally comes once a year, then get up and get right here at the MM Road Food Festival, because mind you, this could be your last chance. Yes, you heard that right. Believe it or not, there are speculations that the Mosque Road Food Festival could be organized for the last time with this Ramzan 2014. Next year onwards, it might not be there. So get up there, guys. There are over 5,000 variety of food spread out here for veg and non-vegetarians. So come here and indulge.
We're here for the food festival, and I like the Patthar Gosht because that's the first time I've ever seen that, so that's really nice.
It's a paradise for non-vegetarians and the food is really lovely.
It's quite amazing. I mean, there's so much food to taste. Unfortunately, I didn't get to eat too much because it fills you up really quick. The traffic's a little insane.
The fact that, this month of Ramadan is really festive, famous, and particularly this area, Mosque Road is famous for its food.
It's really beautiful and it's very tasty. The aromas are enough to make anyone feel hungry. It is that it's not just Muslims, there are lots of non-Muslims, Christians and Hindus who are coming and tasting the food over here. Organized on Mosque Road year after year. You know what? I feel so bad to say it, but there are speculations that this might be the last year that it could be organized. And I have with me one of the committee members, Syed Risalid, who has been actively part of organizing this food festival. It's just bigger, better and yummier. Syed Risalid, this could be the last time. Really disappointing for all food lovers. Can you tell us more?
We have people who come park the cars and move out for prayers. There's a lot of traffic jams here. So that is the one main obstruction here.
You can't possibly be closing down a festival like this because of traffic snarls.
So that we are suggesting that there's a playground here called East Playground. So we could shift up this entire food festival there. So people could really enjoy, because we also like people who come across Bangalore. Come here, enjoy the food, taste different kind of varieties of food here, which is organized from all over India. It's not only the Indian food, common food what you get in Bangalore. We have Kashmiri, Kerala, and different states food. Yeah, Hyderabadi, especially Hyderabadi Halim. This kind of things. There are a lot many varieties of food.
Okay, give us some facts, Syed. Tell us what are the number of people who flock in here year after year? What's the crowd like?
Like if you compare to the last year and this year, the crowd is tripled. It's not doubled. Especially it starting from the Thursday night, and it ends up to Sunday. Okay. Yeah, there's a huge crowd. A bare minimum of 7,000 to 8,000 people you can see across coming here, and there's no space. If you just cross the road anywhere, you can see cars parked, two-wheelers parked. We are trying to make up a discipline where we get into a very nice discipline, parking cars, two-wheelers and all.
And what's the revenue that you generate? If you can just give us a small glimpse of that.
This is a very important thing. The festival was really started to generate a revenue which was helping a school, a government school, which has been adopted by the committee here. And today that school is doing, in Karnataka, is doing as one of the toppest school. We had a strength of 400 children. Now it is nearing to 2,000 children in the school.
Free school?
Yeah, it's a free school, absolutely free with everything. This has been generated in 4 years.
That's indeed a good, cause to work toward. And how glamorous is the festival? Each year it only gets better. and trying a small bit of everything could take quite a few hours and a Herculean appetite. But let me tell you, it's absolutely worth it. For a foodie, this is nothing less of a paradise. Now you got just about 8 more days to go, so leave everything aside. Like we reminded you before, this could be probably the last year that the stalls are going to be arranged in this manner. Next year onwards, it could be moved to a ground or nearby. But the whole feel of it, of course, this can't get better. I'm going to go try the food. My mouth's been watering. I can't wait to go indulge myself. And of course, my cameraman behind the camera there. Before that, let me sign off from here with camera person Devaya and Samir. This is Nabila for News 9.
The successful story of the Dabbawalas has inspired many entrepreneurs in their business. And now it seems like even business schools in Number City want the Dabbawalas to enlighten MBA students about running a successful venture. Here's the report.
CEO of the Dabbawalas, Pawan Agarwal, was in Number City to educate MBA students about running a successful business venture. He was invited by a well-renowned business school to enlighten their students about how the Dabbawalas became so successful with simple business ethics and moral values. The university feels there cannot be a better example for MBA students.
They deliver 2 lakh dabbas with an error-free concept. So I thought that is basically a supply chain and logistic management concept, and that has to be known to the students. They are so simple, and their policies and the systems what they have is really worth for an MBA student to go through all this.
When asked if the students could implement the strategies and modules followed by the Dabbawalas in the corporate world, the university said that it might be hard but not impossible.
It's very difficult to implement because they implement it, but then in the corporate world it will not be that easy to implement that. Maybe out of this entire lot, maybe one student gets motivated with this. I think so I've done my work.
The students who were present at this event were mighty impressed and felt that they learnt a new method of running a business venture. They claim that more than the module run by the Dabbawalas, the moral values and simple ethics which they followed inspired them more.
They're trying to say that bookish knowledge will help you, yes, but there are people out there like the Dabbawalas, they're doing something without being educated, and whereas we have the knowledge, so we can reach heights.